warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to our honorable speaker for today, Professor Dr. Kamaruzzaman Yusoff, and welcome to our fellow students, ladies and gentlemen. So this is our second series of inaugural lecture based on our chapter 2, which is Religion, Science and Technology. Before we start our discussion, let us recite Al-Fatihah. Okay, so I would like to read to you the objective of this chapter. So these are the objective of this chapter, which is, first, we want to identify the concept of science and civilizations. Second, we want to explain the role of religion in science. And the third one, we want to explain the Islamization of science and the integration of science. So these are all the objectives of chapter 2. So, without further ado, I would like to ask the first questions to our honorable speaker. So, Prof, so knowledge, the term that we always encountered or we always come across. So, do we know the concept of knowledge itself? And is there any relationship between knowledge, science, and religion? Please, Prof.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good morning to all of you. I would like to thank Moderator Dr. Norhidayu for giving me opportunity to be here together with all of you. The first question is all about the relationship between religion, science and technology. If you still remember, we already discussed about the meaning of knowledge, but for the sake of others, I would like to a little bit elaborate on the meaning of knowledge and how knowledge have a very close relationship with religion in one way or another. The first point is that religion always emphasize culture of knowledge. I can say that almost all religions, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, and some other religions, all of them emphasize the culture of knowledge. The only question is that how they emphasize or how to gain knowledge in their own culture or their own civilization. I can say that all of them also agreed that knowledge must come through education. Although there are some other ways to gain knowledge, for example, through some sort of yoga, for example, or sometimes through dream, for example, or through revelation from God. But I can emphasize here that education is the best way to gain knowledge. So if you look into the relationship between the culture of knowledge as well as religion, we can say that education is strongly encouraged in all religion. But the problem, especially in the Muslim society, there is a misunderstanding. Why? Because some people, they always label the knowledge that is not related to religion, for example, they label it as a secular knowledge. So they already divide knowledge into two. That is what they call it religious knowledge as opposed to secular knowledge. Actually, such misunderstandings are the result of the view that divides science into religious and worldly knowledge. So this is the problem that we are facing now. We hope that by following this course, especially this chapter 2, we'll try to find out first, how does this happen in the Muslim society as well as some other societies. We also would like to look into why this particular aspect or this particular attitude took place in the society. I can say that some of the, from my observation, this particular misunderstanding, or what they call it, the conflict between religion and knowledge, happened because of, firstly, due to obsession with the study of religious subjects, meaning that some people, they are so obsessed with what they had, and then later on they label those who are not learning or teaching religion, they put it aside, especially anything related to the study of science. This is the first, probably the biggest problem that they have. The second, some people, they underestimate some of the religious scholars who are seen as outdated. This is another belief that belong to another group of people. The first one, as I told you, this coming from the religious circle, but the second opinion has been proposed for from the another group of the people, that is a secular group, they call it, whereby they said that those who believe that knowledge only belong to religion, they are actually outdated or obsolete opinion. So this bring about some sort of conflict between the two. Apart from that, there are some people also underestimate scientists who are seen to be too materialistic and secular minded. This is also part of the problem that we are facing now, whereby we cannot control them. Some of them, because being a scientist, for example, they are too materialistic. They're always looking into money day and night. They're always looking into how to get more profit from what they have, for example. So those are the problems that make the people divide in the society, especially from the Muslim society. So because of that, we have to go back to the real meaning of knowledge, and we have to go back to the real meaning of religion. So this is the division from the Muslim scientists that allows a branch of science that was originally fardu kifayah, that is the community responsibility, to turn into fardu ain, that is individuals' duties, which is when the need for it becomes desperate and can be harmful if not studied. So those are the, I can say that the circle that we need to understand, or the relationship between another part of knowledge, the Muslim call it fardu ain, as opposed to another points that they have, that is fardu kifayah. So in this particular moment, we would like to make it less confrontational. We would like to make it close to each other, so that student might be able to understand it from the best perspective that we have. So ladies and gentlemen, when we are talking about the concept of knowledge and civilization, I think I will continue,
Yes.
from the question that Dr. Hidayu asked. Human beings have the ability, that given by God, that is rational. They have intelligence, they have brain, as opposed to some other creatures. For example, according to the Quran, I am referring to the Quran. for Muslim and non-Muslim, you can go back to chapter 2, verse 30, when God talking about the creation of Adam. So the creation of Adam, right from the beginning, Adam was given the basic knowledge in order to help him perform a special duty as a caliph or the vicegerent of God on earth. So as the first man in this world, he cannot go to the school to learn more. He cannot go to the university to get more knowledge. So for that particular purpose, God gave to Adam a special ability to think, and then it is mentioned also in the Quran, the ability to know names of all things. So this is the basic terminologies that has been given by God to Prophet Adam in order to explore more, in order to discover more about the earth, the world that he is going to be a vicegerent or the leader for the whole creatures. The second point I would like to emphasize here also is about the ability of human being, to reason, to think, in order to distinguish them, with some other beings. For example, man is able to build and develop his whole potential. Everybody has their own potential. Some people, they are very good in arts. Some people, they are very good in maths. Some people, they are very good in, for example, in logic. Some people, they are very good in science, in bio, maths, in bio, for example, in physics or chemistry. So let them have and understand their own potential, and then after that, it is their own responsibility to nurture that particular potential in order to be beneficial, to others in this worldly life. So go back to the question of knowledge. In the first lecture, we already discussed about the meaning of science. Now we want to a little bit explain on the definition of knowledge. Knowledge and science, I can say that it is interchangeably. So make it very simple. Don't be too stressful when you never heard of this particular terminologies and the means of that. So as a student, especially the first year student, please be calm, relax while you are watching this particular video, but please take note some points that I am going to explore here. That is the definition of knowledge. What is, for example, the difference between knowledge and information, for example? According to one of our professors at UTM, Professor Dr. Muhamad Wan Daud, he suggests that this question need to be asked and answered correctly. So if you want to know about knowledge, what is the meaning of knowledge? Why? Because misunderstanding of the concept of knowledge will result in fertile, harmful, and destructive efforts. Why? Because when people only believe that knowledge is everything, so that in one way or another they already trying to avoid God or try to isolate God from their way in order to get more knowledge. So in brief, he suggested that knowledge is very difficult to define. Yeah, knowledge is very easy. In Bahasa we call it ilm, yeah, or ilmu. In Arabic also they use the term ilm. But what is the real meaning of this? So Professor Wan Muhammad Noor suggested that we have to understand the meaning of knowledge, although it is very difficult, but it is not that difficult. Why? Because you are already at the university level. You are no more in the kindergarten, for example. You are no more in the high school, for example. You are already at the university level. So I can say here, yeah, in bahasa Melayu, science as one of the term that we use for knowledge is referred to as ilm, as ilmu, and we also use the term science, translated into English as know, knowledge, and skill. So etymologically, the word science in bahasa comes from the Arabic word alima ya'lamu ilman. So knowledge is the abstract noun of the word alima, which puts it between knowing and ma'lum. Ma'lum meaning that whatever information, knowledge that we know. Alim, those who know. Yeah. So in Arabic also, the term ilm also referring to science in English. Although for some people, they always use the term alim as refers to only to those who are involved or know religious subjects. So this is the things also we would like to open up your understanding and your horizon. Okay, guys, now we go back to what Professor Syed Naqib Al-Attas defines the term of knowledge. He mentioned clearly that when we are talking about knowledge, in order to understand the meaning of knowledge, you have to have at least 3 characteristics. First, the discovery of a meaning. When people said, for example, car, so you have to know the meaning of car that has been used at that particular time. For example, when one said about mouse, what is the meaning of mouse in that particular context? Is it mouse which is always in the kitchen, yeah, living in the dark area, and then come out only during the night? This is mouse also. And then the one that we use to move our cursor while you are using laptop, for example, it is also mouse. So what is the meaning of mouse in that particular context? So first we have to discover the meaning of that particular term. This is the first characteristic. The second characteristic, as suggested by Al-Attas, is that resulting from true information. So if you say mouse, from the old people, yeah, in 1970s, for example, they never know that mouse is a special tool that has been used in order to move cursor. But they know only mouse as same as rat. So those are the things that we have to not only discover the meaning, understand the meaning of the meaning, but we have also to get the meaning from the true information. I'm giving you another simple, yeah, in the Malaysian context. Now we have, for example, kelisa. Kelisa is the name of the fish. Yeah, we have here rusa. You have deer farm here. Rusa is the name of the animal. And then we have also, apart from that, kancil, very small kancil, but very clever. This is kancil, kelisa, and rusa. Yeah. Those 3 names, everybody knows. Yeah, they are part of the creatures in this world. But in 2000 plus, these particular 3 names has been used for the cars. You see, so you cannot imagine if our grandmother who already died, suddenly she came to our place. Yeah, we took them from the graveyard, and then we told her, look, grandma, be careful, because at home we have rusa. She was amazed, shocked. How can you have rusa at home? And then more than that, when you told her our rusa, yeah, as a vehicle, have wheels, and then you can take with rusa 10 people. They might be shocked again, and then she might say that, oh, I don't want to live in this life. Why? Because they don't understand the true information, the true meaning of that particular term, and then giving a true information. This is the second criteria. The third criteria is that it must be beneficial to one's being. If someone learn how to kill people, according to Al-Attas, this is not knowledge. This is not ilms. This is not science. Why? Because learning how to kill people never benefit to others. Same also if you learn how to be a thief, for example. So, he also mentioned about the truth of science. Yeah, when we are talking about these three characteristics, Dr. Hidayu, yeah, it is all about the truth of science, whereby he mentioned it must be referred to God as the source of all knowledge. Obviously, because he is the one of the main thinkers, yeah, for this particular millennium. Yeah, he's still alive, and then he always referring to God, yeah, as the source of all knowledge. So this explanation shows that the concept of science emphasizes the meaning of truth rather than falsehood, yeah, in the one's soul. So according to one of the thinkers also from Indonesia, for example, when they mention about knowledge, so knowledge must be based on three basic questions. First, what do we want to know? Yeah, if we learn something, what do you want to know? You are coming from far away to Malaysia, to Johor. What you want to know? Yeah. So to answer this, you have to learn. You have to understand about ontology. That is the theory of existence. It is all about, for example, metaphysics. The second question is, how do we gain knowledge? Now we are in a very difficult situation. Pandemic, COVID, cannot move. Almost 1 year now. Yeah, hopefully we in Malaysia will be able to celebrate Hari Raya Eid, yeah, for this year, yeah, with our big family in the kampung. So while you are away, we have no choice also but to continue to gain knowledge. So the question is, how do we gain knowledge? We can only gain knowledge through our understanding on the theory of knowledge, yeah, on the nature of knowledge. That's what they call it in philosophy, epistemology. So that we can differentiate the meaning of chairs and the meaning of table, for example. What is the meaning of table? There are some similarities between table and chairs. Both of them have 4 feet, for example. But now no more. The chair that I'm sitting here have only 1. I'm amazed. How can, yeah, a chair but only 1 foot? Why? Because when we are talking about epistemology, it is all about the functionalism. The functional of that particular tool, that particular things that we know. So once we understand the meaning of epistemology, it will be easier for us, and then will be clearer for us to understand the meaning of something as opposed to some other things, although physically we can see it as it is like same, for example. And then the third question, that is, what is the value of that knowledge to us? The value theory. So with this also, we have to learn, for example, ethics. We have to know, why does our exist? Why we are coming here? What is the purpose and where we are going? So this is one quotation from Albert Einstein. I think everybody knows, about him, the theory of gravity, Apple. He concluded that science without religion is lame. I mean, not stable. If you are learning science only and then you living behind a religion, although you are a Muslim, you are Christian, you are Buddhist, you are Hindus, or whatever religion that you have, you cannot sideline religion. Whenever you learn science, you have also to see how it's be connected to religion. But religion alone without science is blind. Why? Because religion alone, from his perspective, is that cannot go anywhere. This is the time from the Western civilization. They call it the Dark Ages, during the Middle Ages. Why? Because they have religion, but religion controlling scholars from new discoveries and controlling scholars and other people, to think more in their daily life. So I think I want to stop there, and then I will give back the opportunity to Dr. Hidayu to say something. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Dr. Kamaruzzaman, for a very thorough explanation about the first questions, the concept of knowledge and the relationship between science and religion. So, fellow students, please extract the key information there for our first objective. What is the concept of knowledge? What is the relationship between science and religion? Of course, there is a very strong relationship between science and religion. So now comes to the second questions for Prof. What are the roles of religion in science, Prof?
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have even time to take a break, you see, for this. We are not that lucky today because we don't have coffee in front of us. So it is okay. After that, we can go to McDonald's to see what's happened there. Okay. Now we go to the second question, that is the role of religions in science. We are using the term religions because we are not going to discuss only from one perspective, but we want to try to understand what Hinduism, Confucianism, Christianity, as well as Islam, in their, at least in their scriptures or book, or for example, when we are talking about Christianity, we will refer to Bible. When we are referring to Islam, we are referring to Quran. And then when we are talking about Hinduism, we will refer to Veda, Mahabharata, so on and so forth. Okay, now we first see what is the scientific thought in Hinduism. According to the book of Upanishad, for example, I don't want to explain more about Upanishad. You can go to the website and then you can get more information about that. The most important part of this book in Hinduism, that is, they always lead their religious people, especially, to more philosophical thinking. And then apart from that, if we go through Hinduism, we can find that Hindus always leading people to the good behavior and actions. Yeah, they call it puja. Yeah, memuja, puja, meaning that all the religious activities rather than philosophical thinking. Why? Because in one way or another, most of the time the philosophical thinking of Hinduism, yeah, will be discovered by their religious people. Yeah, they call it Brahmin. This is one thing. Apart from that, they are also discussed about at least 4 criteria, the main criteria, yeah, that is karma, moksha, and samsara. They call it samsara, yeah, in bahasa. And then they also believe that human life is associated with samsara. So all people have their own problem with samsara. In order to be a better people when the reincarnation take place, that is the process of rebirth, so they have to do something. Yeah, they have to do something. They have to help people, for example. They have to be in a very good manner before reaching to the eternal freedom. They call it moksha. Apart from that, yeah, according to them also, they are talking about knowledge. Yeah, for example, Bhagavad Gita for guidance because it draws upon a scientific and theological dialogue. According to Samkhya, all knowledge is possible through 3 means of valid knowledge. First, direct sense perception, meaning that when we look into it, we observe it, we will get some new knowledge. Second, through logical inferences, meaning that we have to think, yeah, not only observe, we have to think, and then after that we can get some sort of inference from what is happening, either deductive or inductive. Either from the general observation, we can conclude into the very specific observation that we have, or the other way around. The third criteria according to Bhagavad Gita is that sabda. Sabda also has been used in bahasa, yeah. That is verbal testimony, meaning that when we go to some good people, they will tell us something that will give us some new knowledge according to what we need. Apart from that, Hindu also views on some other phenomena in this world. For example, in terms of evolution, they have their own belief, their own understanding that earth or world has been created by God not through revolution but through evolution. Yeah, meaning that one by one, bit by bit. This is the first point. The second point is they also emphasize on numbers, distances, for example, yeah, duration, how many days, how many time, how many minutes, yeah, distances, yeah, how many, for example, they are using at that time miles, yeah, not kilometer for sure. They are also give some understanding to their believers on cosmology, yeah, cosmos, yeah, life outside the human body, about universe, about state of matters, about units of time, yeah. That's why whenever we go and see the Hindu civilization, especially in Mohenjo-daro dan Harappa, we will find that they are already using, for example, second, yeah, minutes, days, weeks, months, yeah, and years. Why? Because through their knowledge, they have to learn this in order to be related to their special ceremonies, for example, yeah, special holidays, yeah. What is happening during Diwali, for example? What is happening during Thaipusam, yeah, and all those prayers that they have, it is related to time and certain period. And then they also discuss about astronomy, yeah. They also already know, yeah, how to prepare a calendar. They call it panchang, yeah. And they already managed to discover maths as well as decimal number system, meaning they are very advanced in their religious as well as scientific life, when it's come into civilization. Confucianism is a system of social and ethical philosophy, rather than religion. Some people believe, according to Western terminology of religion, they said Confucianism is not a religion, but it's only a set of belief based on ethical philosophy that has been introduced by Confucius or Confucius. So he himself developed 5 principles of relationship and concept of 5 values, and then they always put in statute, at home. If you go, for example, to Thailand, you can see the statute of Buddha as well as their king, everywhere. Not because they believe that it is God, but it is only a sign of respect to their this one. So this is the 5 relationship principle in Confucianism. I'm not going to elaborate more. You just read through. The most important thing, it is all about the relationship between man and woman, relationship between brothers and sisters. They always giving priorities to friendship, rather than conflict, rather than having trouble between each other, so on and so forth. Now we go to the Bible. Bible is a holy book for Christians. Bible have 2 main chapters. The first chapter is all about what they call it Old Testament. The second is the New Testament. So they combine together, into a book, and then they call it Bible. There was also a belief that the name Bible coming from one of the cities that's located in Lebanon, that is Byblos. So whatever it is, we just take Bible, consists of 2 main Old Testament as well as New Testament, as I mentioned before. So go back to our discussion on how deep the discussion on knowledge, science among Christianity, among the Christians. So I can say here how they believe the incarnation of God in the book of nature and the historical narrative, as well as the indication of miracles in the book of scripture. So according to Augustine, for example, Augustine is one of the Roman Catholic Pope, during the early time, Saint Augustine, he mentioned that the book of nature is easier to understand and more appreciated than the book of scripture that requires literacy. What is the meaning from Saint Augustine? He told everybody that if you want to learn more about God, it is easier for you to look into nature. You look, for example, you observe how the creatures, you look into the astronomical aspect at the top there. You look into the behavior of the animals, for example. It is easier for you to understand and to go back to God whenever you refer to nature, rather than you are reading scriptures, because reading scriptures requires literacy, requires basic knowledge, and then if you are not really prepared for that, it might bring you out of the context. So students, according to Bible scholars, for example, there are scientific theories such as Big Bang and the theory of evolution in the Bible. For example, from Genesis, verse 1, chapter 1, verse 1, the universe has a beginning, meaning there is no such thing what they believe as the nature. Nothing is nature according to the Christian belief, that they said the universe has a beginning. It is more or less close to what the Muslim believe, that there was a beginning to the universe, and then at the end of the day the universe will finish. Furthermore, they also mention about the universe is governed by the laws of nature and not the emotional state of the gods. It's also mentioned about the rivers and springs come from water that evaporates from oceans and other sources and then falls back to earth in the form of rain. So this is the nature, the circle, how rain happen according to the Bible. And then the Bible also suggests the mountains rose and sank, and the present mountains were already on the seabed because of the process of evolution, as I said to you. The Christianity also emphasizes on hygiene that will protect health. And then they also believe that this particular religion can help the people of the West in one way or another to achieve their civilization. Although this particular civilization in the West nowadays, only according to rationalism, but because of the civilization has been started, has been created, has been discovered in the society, so culture also take a very important role in the evolvement of their civilization. With that, I would like to see some points related how, for example, the relationship between the Quran and the scientific thought. You can see there some scientific themes in the Quran. For example, there are some discussion on biology, astronomy, meteorology, botany, zoology, cosmology. Is all has been mentioned. Some of them in detail, some of them in brief. From the understanding of the Quran. So I would like to suggest you, apart from reading Bible, in order to get some idea about scientific knowledge that they have, apart from Confucianism, apart from Hinduism, please also refer to the Quran. Nowadays, you can refer to all of those scriptures easily through internet. So the Quran, for example, believe that the whole human experience, that is the intellect and the pursuit of knowledge, has a very high place in Islamic society. Muslim always believe that we cannot avoid continuing the process of learning in education in our life. And then Quran also emphasize on the values and ethics in our daily life. It is also giving very much appreciation to reason and revelation, that is go hand in hand, and there is also no conflict between Islam and science. This particular point, I hope that lecturers can elaborate more in order to gauge more understanding for students about this particular subject later on. I think I want to stop here, and then I would like to give back to Dr. Hidayu.
Okay, thank you, Professor, for the explanation. It's very clear view on how religion plays very crucial roles in the development of science, in the Christianity, in the Hinduism, Buddhism, and Islam itself. So I hope students take note that we cannot separate the knowledge of science and religions. So no more religion is religion, science is science. So there must be some integration between religion and science itself. So now come the last questions for these sessions. So some of us might encounter the words of Islamization of science. So some of us might know the words, or some of us, this is my first time encounter the words Islamization of science. So what is the meaning of Islamization of science, and how Islamization of science support the integration between science and religion? Okay, Prof, can you please elaborate more on this issue?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Hidayu. Now we are going to have the last session of our discussion, that is on the Islamization of science. There might be some question raised by some students. Why the science, the knowledge that we have here need to be Islamized? Why the knowledge that we have need to be integrated, with the religion, for example? And the case of the in the case of the region of Islam, as all of you will encounter with later on, because we are now in the chapter 2 only. Please be patient and then wait until we will discuss further on the process of I can say the evolution of the civilization, because when we talk about the evolution of the civilization, it started from the Mesopotamia, for example. This is where they call it the cradle of civilization. At the same time also, they have Chinese civilization as well as Indian civilization. So this is three. At the same time also, we have the Egyptian, old Egyptian civilization. And then after that, all of this knowledge has been put together by scholars who are coming from the Greco-Roman, whereby they start to compile, they start to make it in a very better narrative and more holistic manner. And then later on, the Muslim civilization took place. So the Muslim learned a lot from all of those big civilization. And then later on, the Muslim also not only managed to gather, to translate, to put all together all of these phenomena, knowledge. Apart from that, the Muslim also managed to instill the Islamic values in those particular knowledge at that time. So this is happening during the 9th until the 13th century Christian era. So this knowledge, towards the collapse of the Abbasid Caliph, we can see that this knowledge has been transferred into the West, and then the West, because of they have their own problem. There is the conflict between Christianity and knowledge. So the knowledge has been transformed in one way or another, changed from their original source, that is Islam and the Muslim. When times continuously brought about some changes in this process of giving a new type of knowledge in the West, so they managed to run away from religion. And then there was also at that time the conflict between the men of the church and then the men of the knowledge. So there is a very big fight between two of them. And later on, we found out that those scholars managed to some sort of isolate the church, and then later on the Western civilization flourished. So how does the Western civilization flourish? First, without religion. Second, they put rationalism at the top. And then the second, they always try very hard to tell everybody that this is the best. So when we go back to our discussion on the Islamization of science, the Muslims, especially in the late 20th century, believe that whatever we have from the West, that is good. But the problem for some people, especially some Muslim, and then Christian alike also, whenever they went to the West, whenever they come back to their own country, they confuse. They cannot, they are not able, to differentiate between what is modernization and what is westernization. They thought that everything coming from the West is always good, is always perfect. There is no harm with that. But when this particular knowledge arrive in the Muslim society, so they start thinking whether we have to absorb the Western civilization or we have to adopt modern civilization. So this is where Muslim scholars start to think. You can see the names there. For example, Ismail Faruqi, Syed Hussein Nas, Syed Naqib Al-Attas that we already discussed. Professor Datu Osman Bakar, now he is at IIUM, and some of them, they believe that we have to do something in order to at least to harmonize between science and Islam. This is one point. The second point, they also believe that no, harmonize is not enough. We have to Islamize the knowledge, as what their forefathers did during the 9th to 13th century, as I mentioned. Some people believe that Islamization of science, meaning the combination between what they call the revealed knowledge, that is the knowledge from God, from Quran, from Hadith. We have to combine between revealed knowledge and acquired knowledge. This is the knowledge that the scientists manage to discover from time to time. So the discussion never finish. But I can say that there are also some Western people. For example, in the case of Maurice Bucaille, he is a scientist from French. He is a French, and then he surprised European scientists when he wrote his book about the Bible, the Quran, and science. When he compared the scientific facts found in the Quran and the Bible, being a biologist, he managed to convince everybody that what is mentioned in the Quran, what is mentioned in the Bible, there is no big conflict between science and knowledge what we have now. So those are the things that we already understand about the Islamization of knowledge. And then later on, we still have, for example, in the case of Malaysia, we have a different type of model at the tertiary level. For example, we have IIUM, International Islamic University. They also promoting this type of Islamization of knowledge. We have also, for example, University Sains Islam Malaysia. They also promoting the Islamization of knowledge. UTM, our university, also in one way or another, trying to show at least there is no conflict between religion and science. So the discussion continues, but what we want to share with you is that the process of doing that is part of worship to God, meaning that whatever scientist doing, it is not that different from what other people, religious people, is doing, that these two activities are considered as the worship of God, first. Second, also, when we read the Quran in a very critical way, full of observation and full of understanding. We have a basic knowledge, so we found out that there are a lot of information, guidance, and that show that Quran is really giving us some sort of clue about what is happening in our daily life, and then also showing us what will happen later on. Yeah, either we believe in God or we don't believe in God, but we have to accept that we are living in this world, and then God is always looking at us at all time, and then it is our responsibility to continue this life in a very proper manner. So with that, I would like to thank again Dr. Norhidayu, and then I would like to thank also students over there. Yeah, please wake up from your sleep and rest, because we already finished our discussion. So thank you very much. I would like to give this microphone back to Dr. Hidayu.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you so much, Professor Dr. Kamaruzzaman. Okay, for these chapters, there are 3 objectives that underlying the chapter. So you must know these 3 important information. Okay, the concept of knowledge, whether there is any relationship between science and religion. So the role of religions in science, and the last but not least is the concept of Islamizations of science, and does it support the integration between science and religion. So these 3 is the key important points that you must know when you read chapter 2. So with that, I think this is the end of our sessions. So we're going to have our 3rd series of inaugural lecture next week. So with that, we postponed our second lecture with tasbih kifarah and suara